Hello everyone. In this video we study about the ER model, means entity relational model. So ER model is a model for identifying the entities to keep related in the database and representation of how those entities are the related. In short, the ER diagram is a structural format of the database. So, for that, some essential symbols. First is the rectangle. The rectangle represents the entity. Now, what is meant by entity? An entity is a piece of data that is stored in the database. Means the entity, let's suppose we want to construct a database for the college. So what are the entities in the college database? First is student. Without student, no any database is formed. So student, then teacher, student, teachers. Third one is owner. So in this way, the physical quantities which is essential to construct the database, those objects are called the entity. So student, teacher are the entities for the college database. If we talk about the company, then employee, manager are the entities for the company. So in this way, the rectangle is represent the entities whose table we form to form the database. Again, attribute, which represented by the ellipse. So attributes are the characteristics which define the entity. Means if suppose the student is the entity, then the attributes of the student is student name, student ID, student age. Means which objectives represent the student entities, those are the attributes. Because without student name, without student ID, we not say the person is the student person. If we talk about the teacher, then teacher name, teacher's qualification, student teacher's age are the attributes for the teacher's entity. So these are the attributes are the represented by the ellipse. Then the diamond, which represent the relationship. So the relationship is shown between the two entities. Means if student is one entity, student, and if suppose teacher is the second entity, then if we want to draw the relationship, then teacher teach student. So here the teaching is the relationship between the student and teacher. So relationship is represented by the diamond. Now the line. Line is used for the connect any relation, attribute, entity, whatever we want to connect with each other. With the help we use the line. With the help of line we connect to entities, attribute, relations, etc. Now the next is the double ellipse. Double ellipse is used for the represent multi-valued attributes. For example, mobile number, email ID. So one person has multiple mobile numbers or multiple email ID, and if we want to represent in the ER diagram, so that time we use double ellipse to represent those attributes. The next one is double rectangles, which represent the weak entity set, the entity set which has no primary key. We see what is the primary key, then we understand the weak entity set. So we move forward. The next symbol is dotted ellipse, which is used to represent derived attribute. Now what is that derived attribute? The attribute which depends on the another attribute. For example, age. So if any in database the date of birth is mentioned, that time no need to mention age separately, because with the help of the date of birth we find out the age also. So age is the derived attribute which derived from the another attribute. So if we want to represent the age, that time we use dotted ellipse, and the date of birth we use only normal ellipse, because this is also one of the attribute of any set, student or employee or whatever. Now the double diamond. This is used for the identifying the relationship set for the weak entity. So first we see what is the primary key. Primary key is denoted by the underline. The primary key is those attribute which are the unique for the entity set. Means if we suppose student is the entity, then the student ID is the unique for the student entity, because no any student ID is repeated, or a roll number, no any roll number is repeated for the student. So roll number is primary key for student ID, student entity. So if we want to represent the primary key, that time we use underline, and the primary key is always unique for the entity. So if no any unique primary key is not present in the entity set, that time those set we say the weak entity set, and the weak entity set is represented by the double rectangle. So if we any entity is represent the weak entity set, that time no any primary key is present in this entity. Then we move forward. Diamond double line rectangle, means this is diamond used for the relation and rectangle represent the attribute, and this double line is represent the total participation of entity set in the relationship. For example, let's suppose this is the entity set of department. The relation is department and the student, because without their relationship no any student study. So this is the student entity. Now the student entity is totally depend on the department. Am I right? The student entity is totally depend on department. So we represent with the help of double line, which used to indicate the student entity is totally depend on the department entity. So the relation is student department relationship, and in this way we represent the total participation of entity set in a relationship. Now the weak entity set, attribute of weak entity set, which is represented by dashed line. So we understand what is meaning of this attribute of weak entity set. Let's suppose section is here, means course, CSC course, IoT, IT, whatever. So course is here. This is one entity and the attributes are semester. The attribute is semester. If we want to represent semester, that time we use the dotted line, because this is the weak entity set. The semester is always changed by year, so it is not fixed. So this is the weak entity set. Now many to many relationship. This is represented by diamond we use for the represent relationship, and this simple line is used to represent the many, and if we want to represent one, that time we use arrow. So here the relation is many to many, that time simple line we draw for the diamond, and this represent many to many relationship. The second one is many to one, so the simple line here, so this represent the many and diamond represent the relationship, and the arrow is indicate one, so many to one relationship here. Then again one to one relationship, so both side of the diamond one arrow is draw. So we see the example of all relationship. Let's suppose here student entity, relationship, course. So one student enroll for one course. This is also possible. So if this condition is here, then that time we represent in this way. If many student enrolled for one course, here one student enroll for one course. This is many student enroll for one course. And second, one more case, one student enroll for the many courses. So here one student enroll for one course, many student enroll for one course, and one student enroll for many courses. I hope you all get the idea about basic requirements of the ER model. Now we solve the examples. So here the first question, construct an ER diagram for a car insurance company. So this is not an attribute or entity, because we want to construct the ER diagram for the insurance company. Now what is next, right? Whose customer own one or more car. Now in this line we understand customer is one entity and car is the second entity, because customer own one or more cars, and we see the relationship. Which relationship here between the customer and car? One customer own one or more cars, means one to many relationship between here customer and car. We can understand when we read the sentence. Now we move forward. Let's we check another any entity is present in the question or not. Two entity set we find out here. Each car has associated with it zero to many number of records of accident. So this is one of the entity in the question, accident. So in this question the entities are customer, car and accident. And the relationship between the customer and car, here we see the relationship between the customer and car, 1 to many. Now accident, and for show the relation of accident and customer or car, which entity we select? For accident we want both entities, because without customer no own the car, and without car no accident is done. So this accident is the use both entities, customer, car and accident, and the relationship is between both those three entities. So let's see how we draw. We find out the entities, relationships. Now we do one more assignment, is to find out the attributes for the each entity set. So for the customer, person ID, person name and the address are the attributes. For car, engine number, model and year are the attributes of the car. And for the accident, report number, location and the accident date are the attribute. So in customer ID, the person ID is the key for the customer entity. This is the primary key, because name, one customer has same name. Address, many customer has same address. So these are the not the we consider the primary key, but the person ID is the unique for the each customer, or we say customer ID. This is the unique for the each customer. Here we mention person ID, so person ID is our primary key in a customer entity. Now the car entity. So attributes are the engine number, model and year. So many cars has same model, many cars have the same year, but engine numbers are the different for each car. So in car entity, the engine number is the key attribute. And accident, one accident has same location and the accident date is also same for the many times, but the report number are the difference. So here the report number is the primary key for the accident entity. Now we start to draw the ER diagram. So first we draw all the entities. Here is car, second entity is customer, third entity accident. Now we draw the relationship for our better understanding. So the relationship between the customer and the car is owns. Customer owns the car. We see here customer owns one or more cars. So owns is the relationship between the customer and car. Now between these three entities, the relationship is participate. Because car with customer, or if both are the participate, then the accident is done. So the relation is car participate, customer participate, and then the accident is done. So relationship is participate. Now we write all the attributes. So for the first customer, the attributes are customer name, customer ID. In this description we write person ID and person name and address. So same, we not change again. We write here person name, person ID, and these are the attributes. So draw the ellipse for that, and but the person ID is our key attribute for the customer ID, and the last is address. Now again, the address has sub attributes, means first one is city, state, etc. And that time this attribute we say the composite attribute, because the attribute which are divided into the subparts, means address are divided into city and state. Same for the name also. This is also composite attribute, because name also we have first name, then middle, and the last name. So again the name is divided into the subparts. So this is also our composite attribute. Now we all connect with the help of line, because they are connected with each other. So name, person ID, address. Again address is divided into city, state, and name is divided into first name, middle name, last name. So this is the representation of the customer ID. Now in the same way we write for the car also. So car has the attributes engine number, we see here engine number, model and year. So engine number is the key attribute, engine number, and this is the key attribute. So for that draw underline, then model, this is also one of the attribute, and the year, and connect all these attribute with the car entity. Now two entities we finish. Now we move for the third one. So for accident we have attributes report number, location and accident date. So location, report number is the primary key or primary attribute. Report number, draw underline and then ellipse, and the date, accident date. So this is the ER diagram for the given question. I hope all you are get idea about how we draw the ER diagram if the question is given. Now we see one more example. We see one more example of the university. So in this question, the university maintains a list of classrooms specifying the name of the building, room number and room capacity. So in first sentence we realize that the classroom is the entity and the building, room numbers, room capacity are the attributes of the classroom. Then the next sentence, the university maintains a list of all classes, means sections, taught. Each section is identified by the customer ID, section ID, this sec ID means section ID, year and semester, and has associated with it a semester, year, building, room number and time slot ID. So in this sentence we identify the section or the classes means section. So this section is the one of the entity set, because here mentioned each section is identified by the course ID, section ID, year, semester, and has associated with the semester, year, building, room numbers, and the time slot. So section is the one of the entity, time slot is the another entity. They are related with the classrooms, because here mentioned the building and room numbers are means we can see here the relationship between the classroom, section, and the time slot. Now we move further. So the department has a list of teaching assignments specifying for each instructor. So this instructor is one of the entity in this question. The section of the instructor is the teaching. So instructor is one of the entity. Now the university has the list of all student. This is also entity set. Student course registered means student is separate entity and course is the separate entity. The section is different and the course is different. The student course registration specifying for each student. The course and the associated section that the student has taken. So first we find out all the entities, which are classrooms, section, time slots, department, instructor, student, and course. Now we see how we draw the ER diagram for the given question. First we take instructor and the student entity. So instructor is the first entity, student is the another entity. The relationship between the instructor and student is advisor. And we represent the relationship with the help of the diamond. Now we take the department entity. Department. This is the also one of the entity. The relationship between the department and the student is student department. We write in short. This is the relationship between the student and the department. So student department means the relating student with the department, means which student belongs which department. This relationship show between here. Now instructor and the department. So again the relationship is same. Here for the student and department, here for the instructor, means which is instructor from which department. So instructor, department. Which instructor from which department. Okay, now we take another entity, which is the section. Section means class, which class attempt in this way. The which course, which section code, because first we select section, then we select course. So the relationship between the student and the section is takes. Student takes section. Takes. Now the relationship between the instructor and the section is teach. Instructor teach section. So relation is teach. Teach. Instructor teach section. Now which entities now remain? Classroom is remain. Section we completed. Then time slot is also we not take. Instructor we mention. Department we mention. Student entity we mention. Now course. Now classroom, time slot and the course. First we take course. So from section we decide our course. So for that, here one entity we write course. Course. And the relationship between the course and the section is, section means which semester, year, and the course of the semesters and that year. So the relation between the course and the section is sec course, means the relating the sections with the course. So we write in short sec, we write here sec course. This is the relationship between the section and course and this course. Because which semester we have which course, these are the relationship between the section and course. Now which entity is now remaining? Classroom. So we take classroom also. Classroom. This is the one of the entity. Now the relationship between the classroom and section is sec class, means relate the section with the classroom. Which section, which semester we have which classroom given for the student. So for that the another relationship here is sec class. So this section and the classroom. Now the time slot. This is also we relate with the section, because section is the one of the important, because from section we understand which course, which classroom, the time slot of the section. So that time one more entity relate with the section is time slot. Time slot. And the relationship sec time. This is the relationship between the section and the time slot. Now we map all the relationship with the entities correctly, because many times it is completed related with the totally dependent on the entities and one to many, many to one. Let's we see. So first the time slot. We take time slot. So time slot is totally depend on the section. So that's why we write here double dash. Then again between the course and the section, a section is totally participate in the course, and the only one course we write. The relationship between the course and the section are the totally participate in the course. Now again section is the totally participate in the classroom, for the classroom. So that's why also. Then in section instructor teach totally. Section totally participate in the instructor teaching. Then again we mention the relationship between the course and the department, because they are also related with each other. So this is one of the relationship we draw here, which is course department related with the course. So this is one department has totally participate in the course. So we write double dash here. Course totally participate in the one department, because one course for the one section has a one department. Now instructor totally participate in the department. Student totally participate in the department. Now we completed relation. We write all the entities. Now the attributes are the remain. So now we write for all the entities attribute. So first we start from the student. So for the student entity, we know student name, roll number or ID. This is the primary key. And for the attribute, we draw the ellipse. So student ID, then address, etc. are the attributes of the student. And the roll number is the primary key, so that's why we draw underline. Now we write all the attributes of the department. So department name, this is the one of the attribute which is primary attribute, because the department name is the unique. Then the building, then department budget. So these are the attributes of the department. Now the instructor. So again instructor has instructor ID, which is again unique for each instructor. Then instructor name, then salary of the instructor. And most of the attributes are the given in the question also. Let's see how they mention. So here we can see the classroom has building, room number and room capacity. So let's first we write all the attributes for the classroom. So classroom has building, room number, then room capacity. And here the building is the unique for the classrooms. So this is the primary key of the building of the classroom. Then now the second statement. The university maintains a list of the classes, means sections. Each section identifies by the course ID, section ID, year, semester, and has associated with the semester, year, building, room number and the time slot. So we can see here for the section entity, the section ID, year, semesters are the attributes. So we write for the section ID. So for the section entity, the attributes are section ID, which is the primary key or primary attribute. Then semester, we draw here semester, and the year. We write here. So these are the attributes for the section. And if the attribute are not given in the question, that time we suppose, means if students attribute are not given, that time we know student has student name, roll number, address, etc. Now for the course ID, which is again the primary attribute. Then the credits are the attributes for the course. For time slot ID, which is again unique, means this is the primary attribute or primary key, and the day in which the starting time and ending time, end time. So this is the attribute for the time slot. So this is the final our ER diagram. This is the ER diagram for the university database. I hope all you get the idea how to draw ER diagram. Thank you.